Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Victory Reverse Mortgage. I'm Benny Victory. Today is January 3rd, 2023, and for my first video of this year, I wanted to take a moment and step back and kind of reflect on what I want my clients and prospective people that are interested in getting the reverse mortgage, their financial advisors, and their adult children to kind of contemplate. Because as the library grows and I make more videos, I don't want to kind of lose sight of what is the most important thing. And that to me is the perspective that the borrower needs to have when considering the benefits and features offered by the reverse mortgage. And to me, that perspective is really paramount. Everything starts and ends with your perspective. If you approach this topic of getting a reverse mortgage with hesitation, with fear, with going into these videos that I caution against you looking at and taking it as the gospel, because they're not given by people who understand the subject matter, who don't have licensing, who don't have education, and can't go in depth and look at the narrative that is related and important to the senior in this part of their retirement, then you're wasting your time. And not only are you wasting your time, but you could potentially be taking the wrong approach in not proceeding and educating yourself in getting the reverse mortgage. So I wanted for this video of this new year to kind of dial it back, because at this point I have some 60 videos in my playlist, and I've tried to cover different important topics that I know are of concern to seniors and their adult children and financial advisors. But what I wanted to do in this video is to kind of go back to the very basic and simple narrative that I hear the most, and try to give you a perspective that I want you to have. Because if you don't see the value proposition, then all of these videos could be just a waste of your time, because you're not going to see the same thing that I do. And if you recall in the video that I did regarding perspective, I brought out what I thought was a really good example that I want to bring out again, because I think it speaks really nicely. So this is, if I bring it up close this time, it's probably going to be very visible. You'll see either one or the other. You'll see either the outline of two faces looking at each other, and you could see their nose, you could see their lip, you could see their forehead. You could see two faces looking at each other, or you can see a goblet, which is highlighted in between, and I highlighted it in yellow so you could see the contrast between the white and the yellow. And to me, until and unless you can see both of these, both the faces and the goblet, you really are missing the whole value proposition. I'm going to keep it up for a second so you can see it really clearly. So unless and until you can see this duality of your concerns that you have within the proper framework of how these concerns have been addressed in the group of videos that I've done, in the playlist that I've done, and you are comfortable with it, you're not going to be able to proceed. So I wanted today to just kind of dial it back a little bit and talk about the objections that I've always heard, and you probably still have in your mind if you're new to my channel or you're just coming across this video. And we start off with the first one of your objections and your perspective being that it costs too much and it's too expensive. When I hear that it's costing too much and it's too expensive, what that tells me is that the person that I'm speaking with doesn't fully understand the value and the benefits having the mortgage insurance protection in place. And that's why I did a series of videos regarding what homeowner protection insurance policy is, who it protects, why it's required, and what it means to have it. And then I went into the detail and I went to the cost breakdown of what mortgage insurance premium protection is and where the cost of it as far as calculation comes from, who pays for it, and how does that work. And unless and until you understand and you adopt and you're comfortable with that video or that group of videos, and you really begin to see the benefits of having a reverse mortgage and its features as it relates to you towards your retirement, this cost objection that it's too expensive is going to just drown out any possibility of it being a benefit to you, and you're going to dismiss it. And with each one of these things that you layer on and that you dismiss, you're chopping at your retirement tree. You're chopping at what is there in terms of what can be in place for you for your protection. And with each one of these things that you use as a way to dismiss getting the reverse mortgage, my question to you becomes, if you think the reverse mortgage is bad, what's your alternative? What do you think is going to take you to the end? If you have 5-10 years left on your mortgage and you're 65, 70, 75 years old and you're planning on paying another 10 years worth of mortgage, what's your game plan? Because I know this much, you're not working anymore. You're not getting employment income. You're on a fixed monthly income. You're counting on your income and your spouse's income. Well, God forbid one of you passes away, what's going to happen to that income? It's going to disappear. And those expenses that you have right now are going to continue, and you're going to have to take this all the way to the end. That's why I say it's important to watch that video that I've done about the 4 quarters of your life and where you are at this point. That's why I'm challenging you with this video and saying, do you have the proper perspective? Because I could make 150 videos. I could drill down. I could look at it from the front, from the side, from behind, from upside down, and you're just going to keep coming back to it costs too much and it's too expensive. And I'm respectfully pushing back. I'm forcing you to hold a mirror and forcing you to think about these notions that you have in your mind of where these things have come from. It's like doing therapy with you. It's like me challenging you, saying, if you're telling me it costs too much and it's too expensive, somebody put that notion in your head. It was either Dave Ramsey or it was Susie Orman or it was one of these people on these YouTube channels, or you heard it at some point and you never look beyond that statement to see what is expensive, what does too expensive mean, what am I getting for my value proposition, what are the features and benefits that I'm getting. And I'm here to push back and say every one of these notions that you have in your mind was instilled in you because you didn't come out of your mother's womb thinking reverse mortgages are bad. Somewhere along the line, you picked up this thing that reverse mortgages are bad and they're the devil's loan. And then you clung to it. You clung into it like a big value proposition, and you're not willing to let it go at your own detriment. And, God bless you, and I hope that you have a great retirement. But if I don't force you to hold the mirror and look at these ideas that you have in your mind as being the gospel, and you kick the can down the road, you may lose the opportunity cost in being able to get a reverse mortgage. Already, what we do know is that interest rates have gone up, and the relationship of interest rates to reverse mortgages means as rates go up, less money is available for you. Less of your home appreciation, wealth, and equity is available to you. As home prices come down, there's less money available to you. And in my big 50-minute long cost of mortgage insurance protection, I said to you, people are running around paranoid and terrified of what the cost of the mortgage insurance premium is, which they don't pay out of pocket, but they're totally disregarding and dismissing the fact that over the next 5-10 years, if 20-30% of their housing wealth appreciation and accumulation disappears because we're going in a bad real estate market, nobody seems to care about that. So if you have $1 million home and you lose 20%, that's $200,000. You're jeopardizing $200,000 of home equity depreciation, but you're keeping up and staying up at night thinking that I'm saving 2% of the mortgage insurance premium cost. And that to me is the example of walking over a dollar to pick up a penny. And that's why I'm pushing back, and that's why I want this first video of this year to make you face yourself. This is you. This is my senior. And these are your notions that are running around your head and what you're thinking about. And I'm asking you to look at each one and say, do you fully understand what we're talking about? Can you go back to where you picked up these bad habits and bad ideas in your head and force yourself to reconsider it? Because that's what these videos are meant to do. They're not just because I'm bored and I don't know what to do myself. I'm doing this to share with my clients, and the reason I'm sharing it with the general public is because the general public, seniors, need to understand, need to have this, need to have these protections, and need to have this conversation. So if your second consideration for not getting a reverse mortgage is this, I will lose my home, I won't be on the title to the house, which I know 10 out of 10 seniors that I speak to share this view. Well, respectfully, you don't understand your current legal obligations and your relationship with your lender and what that obligation is until you make your last mortgage payment. And this is the whole series of videos that I did where I likened your relationship with the bank as a triangle where the lender, the bank, is on top, you're the borrower, and the house is the collateral, and your relationship and what your legal obligation is once you sign the promissory note, once you signed the deed of trust, once you pledged your home as security and as collateral. Well, if you don't understand those relationships, and if you don't understand that right now as it stands, you have no right as it pertains to the lender coming after you in case of a missed monthly mortgage payment. And that's why I went into the whole series of videos where I said the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, through its census as of July 21, the year 21, has found out that 682,400 seniors age 65 and above are delinquent on their mortgage payment. Another 83,000 of them are facing foreclosure. Well, what do these people have in common with you? Well, what they have in common with you is that if you're obligated to make a mandatory monthly mortgage payment until your mortgage is fully paid off, you're exactly like these people were, because these people were also obligated to pay through their promissory note, through their relationship with the bank, to make a mandatory monthly mortgage payment. And when they ran out of money, when they didn't have any more money to pay towards their remaining mortgage balance, then the bank said, listen, you're now delinquent, and enough months go by with delinquency, now we're going to put you in foreclosure. Now you have a whole host of problems. Are you afraid of understanding the reverse so much, the reverse mortgage features and benefits so much, that you're willing to risk going into foreclosure? Is it that bad of a program that you're so terrified of it? And if it was, I'm going to get to this point when it gets here. If you think, maybe I'll cover it right now. If you think the reverse mortgage is so bad, your feeling against it is so strong that you think it's a scam even. Maybe some people compare it to a scam. Well, if you think it's a scam and you're so against it, how do you explain the fact that HUD and the FHA, which are governing agencies, are the two sanctioning bodies that protect the seniors and look over the guidelines of the reverse mortgage? How do you explain that since 1988, 1,296,065 seniors have taken the benefit of a reverse mortgage and adopted it as their own going into their retirement? How do you justify that in the year 2022, October 1st till September 30th, 64,489 seniors said yes to having a reverse mortgage? How do you explain that already, since the fiscal year started, 6,773 seniors have taken a reverse mortgage? These numbers and these agencies that are in place don't jive with your notion that it's a scam and it's a fraud and it's perpetrated by the bank. They just don't. So why is it that you think the way you do? Why is it that you think you're going to lose your home and you by not being on title? And I've done a whole series of videos where I said to you that you don't understand that your legal protection against a foreclosure for non-mortgage payment is with a reverse mortgage. Well, why is that? It's because a reverse mortgage doesn't require a mandatory monthly mortgage payment. And when you're not legally obligated to make this payment, your lack of payment doesn't constitute a legal action for the lender to be able to come foreclose on you for having not performed your obligation to make a monthly mortgage payment. And that's why I said, if I go back in time and I look at these people and I say to them, if it's between getting a reverse mortgage in place or being in foreclosure or being delinquent with your mortgage, and if you could qualify for getting a reverse mortgage, you don't think these people would have taken advantage? Of course they would have taken advantage. You mean to tell me you'd rather be in foreclosure, you'd rather be facing delinquency than having a reverse mortgage where you're protected and the government agencies of HUD and FHA are here to have your back and say that you could age in place and your only obligation is to pay property taxes, homeowners insurance, and maintain the property, which is something you're going to have to do with a traditional mortgage or a reverse mortgage, or even if you don't have a mortgage? How's that going to work out? Okay. Number 3, you're thinking that you won't have any equity left with a reverse mortgage to leave as inheritance. And if you think this way, if you think that there's going to be a reverse mortgage that is going to strip you of all your equity and there's going to be no inheritance left, you again don't understand something. You don't understand that not every borrower is the same and what that means. And that's a whole other host of videos that I've done where I said that not every reverse mortgage loan and every reverse mortgage loan borrower are the same. Well, what does that mean? You're going to have to watch those videos to understand that and then see which one of them apply to you. You don't understand the difference between property value appreciation and depreciation versus a loan balance reduction. Because if you understood this dynamic, if you understood what property value appreciation and depreciation is, which is cyclical and it's out of your control, then you would understand that you paying down your loan balance in a minimal kind of way through your monthly payments is not the reason you have property appreciation or depreciation. There's a relationship between these two, and respectfully, if you don't understand what this dynamic is, of course you're going to think that the bank is going to strip all your equity away. But that's not the case. And unless and until you push back and you really, if you're really interested, you get into it, then you're going to understand it. The availability of equity versus what type of a borrower you are, which is a subset of this conversation. And we've already covered this whole idea that the bank is a scam. My goal in this video is twofold. To put out the challenge to you that I know that one of these or all of these is what haunts you in getting a reverse mortgage. I know that if I and you were sitting in a room and we were talking about it, you would be saying to yourself, oh, there's no way in hell I'm getting a reverse mortgage because I know what you're doing to me. But that goes against what 64,489 seniors in last year did. How are these people different than you? They all had the same perspective. They all drank the same Kool-Aid before somebody got to them and educated them, and before they themselves took it upon themselves to really see the merit of what they're thinking about. Where does it come from? And once they realize that, look, this thing that I'm putting up and I'm terrified of doesn't have to be the reason where I don't look further into it, then they went all in and their retirement is completely different. So my challenge to you is go back, look at the videos, see which one of these things or which of the subsets of them are the reason that you can't proceed. And I've tried to make my videos so that if your perspective is just this, I try to share with you my perspective, which is to contemplate things you haven't even thought about. And that's why I said I did a series of videos around the foreclosure risk that you're facing with having a traditional mortgage. How are you going to qualify with your traditional mortgage when you think that you're going to go and be able to refinance and get a new mortgage? I've tried to approach it and give you topics that you haven't even contemplated to show you that I'm on your side, concerned about the same things that you are. But being on your side and being concerned with the same things you are also means that I have the ability to tell you that what's coming around the corner and where you're headed, to challenge you and say, are you prepared? Are you prepared to pay another mortgage payment for the next 5 to 10 years on a fixed monthly income at the detriment of running out your savings? Can you be in a situation where if you lose your spouse and their income, you're going to be okay? What happens when you finish this milestone of paying off your house and now you have $1 million house sitting there, this illiquid asset that you can't tap into and you can't access a portion of your housing wealth? Where's the benefit in that? These are all things that these videos are intended to do, to see how they can help you overcome your fear and your resistance. But it all starts and ends with your perspective. Because unless and until you have the proper perspective, none of this makes a difference. I'm not going to be able to make any kind of roadway with you. I'm not going to be able to penetrate in any way any kind of a benefit that I think is valuable to you. So on that note, I'm going to finish my first video of the year. I wish you a blessed, healthy, prosperous new year. I hope that these videos are able to make a difference for you and make the right decision and have the right thoughts as you go into this year, and to really challenge yourself. See where was the time that you picked up these ideas in your head that you've clung to and are not ready to let them go. And if there's a question that you have, if there's a video that you need, if there's information that you don't have, or if there's something that I haven't covered, I'm going to circle back and do more in depth with different perspectives on different topics. But as of right now, every framework that you need to be able to work yourself through your concerns over reverse mortgage exist within my playlists. And if you take my suggestion, which is what I said to you in one of my other videos, is give yourself a week and sit down and say, what am I concerned about? What am I scared about? What is relevant to me that I don't know the answer to, which if I knew the answer, makes me feel more comfortable. And then let's see if we can give you that answer. And if you have that, maybe then that will help you take baby steps to go forward and to be able to have a beautiful retirement. Because, you know, this year, 2023, things are going to be difficult. Rates are up. Inflation is up, housing market is down. We don't know what the numbers are going to look like. And all of these things, when you're on a fixed income, can be a tsunami coming your way. And I just want to provide you some shelter if I can, and some assistance if I can. God bless you. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and have a blessed day.